here. Thank you very much for joining us once again this beautiful day that the Lord has given us. This is your show, Golden Minute Show. I remain your host, Ann B. This is where we talk about pregnancy, labor, and childbirth. And this is where we bring in people who've been there, done that, for our that day experience part. Now, today we are privileged to have the nursing director at Cure Kijabe. Does labor respect nurses? Hello, Anne.
Hi.
Kindly tell us your full names.
Now, my name is MULWA. I'm a mother of 2.
Wow.
So I have been in that golden minute
Twice.
I have a girl, 7.
Wow.
And a boy, 4 years.
Good family planning.
Right. So I went to a nursing school. And so I am a nurse by profession. And I thank God because then I was able to experience labor from that perspective as a nurse. And I work with AIC, Cure International Hospital. It's a hospital that deals with children with disabilities that are physical related. So anyone who has bone issues and it was born either at birth or it was acquired through accident. And now we even do adults. They actually come to our place and we are able to give them corrective surgeries.
That's great work.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about pregnancy. You got pregnant as a nurse. Midwifery here.
Right.
Margaret Meyer's book.
Right.
The whole of it here.
Right.
From the beginning, you know the signs of true labor, the signs of pregnancy, you know all the minor disorders in pregnancy. Tell us about your first pregnancy.
We had been praying with my husband for the first pregnancy, like any other family, because then we knew this was a reward from the Lord. So the news about being pregnant was received with great joy, and we thanked God. And we were praying for normalcy, like any other parent. And we were anxious, just like any other first-timer.
Of course.
And so when immediately we realized that this was the case, we were now pregnant, the physical symptoms started to accompany the same. So the early signs of pregnancy, morning sickness and vomiting and smells and issues to do with just not being able to wake up in the morning and feeling okay. So, and then I knew, these are the things I have learned in class, so I will experience them for 3 months, and that will be fine.
As per the books.
As per the books. And so, yes, 3 months, we were there vomiting. I cannot go to the kitchen. Anytime there was kitungu, I would literally say, now I cannot cook.
Now, are you eating boilo?
I was actually eating githeri that is not even fried. Githeri plain. Yeah, no frying, no mafuta. It had just to be plain. So for 3 months, that was the episode. So I was really looking forward for the 3 months to end.
To end the problem.
Yes. Then that did not happen.
After 3 months?
No. It continued, and I can tell you, I had an experience of having those episodes for the entire 9 months.
9 months?
9 whole months. I vomited, and there are foods I could not eat. And top on that list was chapati. Even the smell, you know the way you start doing the chapatis and someone can know there is chapatis in this house, I would literally run. So chapatis and meat was not part of my menu.
For 9 months?
For 9 months.
Follow, my dear. Now, what was this one thing that was so severe?
The severe thing that for me I experienced, and my husband can say this, is the vomiting. Because I was now worried of the weight, because I knew I needed to add some weight.
Yes, you needed.
At least 12 kilograms for the entire period of pregnancy. And now I had issues with food and I had issues with vomiting. So I was very worried about my weight, and I was very worried about
the baby's weight too.
Yes. But I thank God somehow my weight did not go up very much, but the baby was not affected. So for me that was great, and I thank God.
Sometimes books and us really don't meet at where we expect them to meet.
At all.
Now, let's talk about this day. That day when you went into labor. Tell us from how it started.
Now, just like I have said that we began this pregnancy with prayers, and we kept telling the Lord to help us to have a normal pregnancy and a normal labor process. And knowing that that is a place, even in the Bible, you mentioned that in childbirth, the Lord saves us. I was so anxious because I knew whatever stories we had heard about labor and the pain and the cries, I was saying, now I work in this hospital. I have some status. How will it be if I am crying? So I kept praying and telling the Lord
that you don't cry.
I will not. No, I will not
cry.
I will not embarrass myself. I want to be this strong woman. And
African.
Lord, yes, and Lord, give me safety. Let it be normal. I do not want a cesarean section, Lord, because I want to experience the process of labor. So apparently, the pregnancy exceeded with 1 week, which is normal.
It's normal.
Yeah, for me.
2 weeks before.
Yes, or 2
expected
weeks.
Date of delivery.
Yeah.
2 weeks after.
Yes.
So yours went 1 week.
Yes, it went 1 week after, and we were hopeful because we knew this is normal, and we actually stay in the hospital compound, so we knew if anything happens, even at night, we can rush to the hospital.
It's just a walk to the labor
so
ward.
on this 10th day of October 2009 is when it happened. So that morning we wake up very well, we prayed, and then there I saw some waters.
They broke in the morning.
Yeah, but when I checked, they had some tinge, a totally different color that told me something was wrong.
No, the nurse in you.
Yes, the nurse in me. Yeah, the midwife in me told me this is, we call it meconium. For people, it is a greenish kind of stuff. So when I saw that, I said, I have not been laboring. Why would this be the first sign?
Fetal distress.
Yeah.
Why? Basically, the child is tired.
Yes, and I have not been laboring, so I had not been in pain. There was no single sign that I was actually in labor. But there, the waters broke and they had a color. So we just dressed up and rushed to hospital. So when we rushed to hospital, we did what we call a stress test for the fetus, just to find out how the heartbeat of the baby was. And when I was lying there and you know, everyone is around me, I thought, hey, this is how someone actually feels when it is an emergency.
Yes.
Because it looked like an emergency, and I was there, and they had to examine me and find out how far I was. And I was only 2 centimeters. 2 is absolutely
it's almost
early labor. It's like zero labor.
It's zero labor.
Yeah, so, and...
No, sorry, it's zero labor. And the baby is tired.
Yes.
We need the baby out.
The fetal heart was actually 180 something, and that was urgent.
Now, as a nurse, how far should it be? What is the normal?
The normal should not go beyond 160. It should not even, actually, when it's 140, you're fine. So when it was 180, that was urgent.
Bad.
That was urgent. And I started crying because, you know, the midwife in me says, fetal distress, CS. Lord, this cannot be. You know, that was my first reaction.
That was not my prayer.
No.
And Anne, sometimes knowledge is dangerous.
I tell you.
Now you know what is happening to your baby.
Right.
But now it's also good to know. So tell us, what happened?
Immediately that happened. Now, it was even worse. Let me tell you, I think the psychological torture for the mother is worse than the professionals who are actually running around to ensure that you have an anesthetist and a surgeon and the people who must take care of this emergency that has just been discovered. So I was there. Now with oxygen in my nose, and there is water fixed, you know, IV fluids fixed in my vein, and a catheter being put, and I know this is literally an emergency, and I am crying, and my husband doesn't know what to do. It's our first child.
And we need a break.
Right.
This is too much for one woman. Yes, we are going for a break. When we come back, we will still continue knowing whether labor at some point will respect a nurse.
Right.
Back from our break, we are discussing that day experience. Does labor respect a midwife? Now, for any comment, for any question, kindly use the number on your screen. Now, back to Mrs. MULWA. Now you are free prepared for theater. Tell us, what happened?
We are now in theater because the entire experience, we literally just prayed. The entire process, my husband was very supportive. He did not leave the bedside, so he prayed and we proceeded to theater. And the process in theater did not take long because, it was a quick procedure. So we are from theater and back to the ward.
Was the baby fine?
Yes, the baby was fine, cried.
That's
and so I even heard the cry because, you know, it was a spinal, so you can actually hear everything.
Spinal is where you're paralyzed from here down.
right.
The other part is quite awake.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
So I heard the baby cry. That was my first assurance, and I was happy. I thank God.
You did the scoring.
Yes. I said that is 10. I was happy.
Score 10.
Yeah.
10 in 1, 10 in 5, 10 in 10. Good,
yeah.
we continue.
So back to the ward, and now I am wheeled to the post-op room, and because I was a staff, I was actually given private services, which are a good thing.
That's nice.
And problems began thereafter again. So here I am with a scar.
After the cesarean section?
Yeah. And then now the baby is taken to nursery because something was terribly wrong.
With the baby?
Yes. When the baby came out, immediately they started turning yellow, and that is not normal. Even for me, who has been in the medical profession, I know if it is a physiological kind of jaundice, then it will be 3 days.
3 days after this?
Yeah, or at least 24 hours. But now
first day?
Yes, just when the baby was being brought for me to breastfeed, the baby, I noticed, had some yellow. And again, my knowledge, I thought, this is not normal.
Right.
And so again, there was the second beat of the running. So now the pediatrician had to be called, and now the baby had to be taken.
This pediatrician is the children doctor.
Consultant. So, and the baby rushed to nursery, and yes, the baby had, for me, what I know is ABO incompatibility or obstructive jaundice. Something was totally wrong.
Blood issues.
Yes. And so now the baby had to be in nursery for 7 other days. And so I thought of thinking, okay, so I have this baby, I have a scar, and I have to keep waking up to go and feed a baby in nursery because they cannot come, and they have to be in the incubator. I was so discouraged. I thought, Lord, I don't think I asked for this. No.
Yeah, at some point you wonder, is it that I didn't pray well? Or is it that, do I really know enough? What is happening?
Yeah.
Or you even think, did I have a wrong any patient? And some mistakes following me up to this level.
True.
Let's continue.
But I thank God because, and then I think the baby had some placental insufficiency in the womb.
Because of the frequent vomiting.
Yes. So the skin was tough. Even to get an IV line was a problem. I remember one of the evening my husband said, "Mumedunga mtoto sana, wacha mimi mwenyewe nikuje
nijiweke line."
Niweke line. And you know, when it is your own child, it's not possible.
It's not possible. It's not. I've tried. It's not possible.
It's not possible. And so I was imagining, here is a mother very sick, here is a baby very sick. I actually pitied my husband because I think he must have borne the brunt of the entire process.
It is true.
It was really an experience of its own.
But thank God he was there for you.
Right.
And thank God he has a medical background knowledge.
Yes.
It would have been very painful if he was not there for you.
No.
And that's why we keep on telling our viewers, kindly don't be that tough African man. Be there for your wife. Be there even to bond with your child. Now the baby is in the incubator.
Yeah, and so at one point there was a suggestion, because usually they do tests when the baby is in the incubator, and they have to do what we call phototherapy. But that was not helping. So at one point I saw the doctor walk into my room and said, "We want to suggest to you something that I know being a medical person you will be against, but we have to go that way. We have to do the exchange transfusion." I said, exchange? Get the blood of the baby out and infuse a totally different kind of blood to the baby. that at that point now I got mad. I said, no, for this one we will pray. For this one we must pray. So they had done the tests in the morning and said the bilirubin was extremely high, so we have to do the exchange transfusion. In the afternoon, I just literally said, let's test that bilirubin again. And when they tested, it was now borderline, so they didn't need to do the exchange transfusion.
Prayers,
I just thought,
prayer
there.
works.
Yeah, there.
Thank God you are prayerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we are at borderline.
So they decided, let's just continue with physio. And after 7 days, the baby was on the phototherapy, was getting antibiotics, was getting the treatment that it should. And I must thank God for the doctors at Kijabe Hospital, because they were very helpful. And the support that I got, because even the whole time my husband did not leave. Even the house girl had literally to be bringing clothes for him. He did not leave the hospital.
He camped there.
He camped there. That was something.
Knowing that your house is just a walking distance.
He would have gone and even spent the night at home, but he did not. He spent at the coach, and that was very supportive. Actually, I got my recovery faster because of that support.
It helps. It really helps.
Yeah.
Now, how is the baby today?
Very fine. Immediately, in fact, after the discharge, and we went home, and the baby was fine. Picked up, the skin became smooth, because now
7 years, I imagine now she's in school.
Very beautiful.
We will come back now to talk about the second boy, Felix.
Right.
Be with us. Thank you very much for joining us once again. Now, this is a discussion that we can discuss for weeks, but we will have to end it. Now, I had said we will talk about the boy, but please, there's another story. Anne, tell us about the wound.
The baby healed. One of the things that I'm grateful is that we went with the baby home, and she did well thereafter.
Glory to God.
And the first, because it was 7 days in the hospital, but when I went home, I realized that the wound was not healing as it should, because now I had a cesarean scar.
By 7 days, it should have closed.
Yeah, it should be showing signs of healing, not really very closed. But I realized that now it wasn't healed as it should. So now I'm happy I'm home, but now we have to go back to hospital and literally get care again. And so I was thinking, Lord, that whole labor process was just unexpected, especially for me who had been in the nursing profession. I know everything. But I thank God, because then before I went to theater for a second stitching, we had to change the management somehow.
So it had reached that point,
right,
that you go back to theater again.
The doctor had suggested.
Open the wound.
Yeah. The doctor had suggested. So the doctor who had been seeing me had suggested that we need to go back to theater. But I think she sought the opinion of a second one who now thought,
let's give it time.
Yeah, it doesn't look that bad to go back to theater. And that is how they decided, you go home, we will put you on this close management, and because you're just near here, we will keep observing you from home. And that helped.
All that from the first day, through pregnancy, through labor, the baby, the wound, on one person.
Right.
You're a great woman. Now, can we talk about the second baby?
Now, you know, with that experience, it becomes the best teacher. So when we got the second born, because again it was planned, we prayed and asked that the Lord would help us. Of course, the entire process of again vomiting, the 9 months happened for the second baby. But
you vomited again?
Yeah, at 9 months. So yeah, it repeated. Looks like I even was telling him, now if we have to have the third again, this
looks like the culture now.
The trend.
Yeah.
So, but now we were better prepared, because now we were not going to go the labor way. So we opted for an elective CS. So we even knew the date.
Elective is where
you
no
already
pain.
You've already arranged and planned that on this day, this is when I want the surgery done. So that is what we did.
As long as the baby is term.
Yes.
Okay.
So we waited for the baby to be term, and so when it was term, we went and it was smooth. There was no issue at all for the second baby. Didn't go to the nursery, didn't have issues, the wound healed by 3 days. I was actually walking around. So it was a totally different experience for the second born. So for me, it was a learning thing to know that it's never the same. You cannot say, since I went through it this way for the first time, this is how it will be for the second born. Yeah.
That's what I keep on telling our viewers, that pregnancy is different for all women. The way you went through your pregnancy and labor, that's different for mine. And the labor is also different for the different babies.
Yeah.
The way you delivered the first baby is quite different. Even if you go up to 10 or 20 babies, it will always be an experience of its own kind.
Right.
Now, can we talk briefly, just before we go, about breastfeeding? Were you able to do exclusively 6 months?
Yes.
You did?
Yes, because at one point I was now teaching the School of Nursing, and I was a teacher of those students saying, please emphasize to the mothers 6 months. And I can tell you it's doable, and there was enough for both babies. 6 months exclusive.
Did it come to a point where you needed to store some milk for the baby? Like to express milk? Apparently,
I worked with a very good employer. So after the first 4 months, when I was out for maternity leave, which was easy to breastfeed, there was provision for you to go at break time and lunch time to breastfeed your baby. So I didn't have to do a lot of expressing and leaving, because then I would be there every after 3 hours. Yeah,
that was very good.
Yeah.
Now let's talk to the people who are watching us. There's this woman who is going through the same experience of vomiting now and then. Kindly talk to her, maybe something that you did and helped you. Though the weight was not going as per what you knew and what is expected, but at least you are able to go to term. What is this that you did?
Like I said, pregnancy is different for everyone. And for someone who encounters minor problems of pregnancy, like we call them, it's important to discover what is the irritation, what is causing you to vomit a lot. Because when we discovered that scents like perfumes were the reasons why I would vomit, or some particular food, we just avoided them. But ensured that you substitute. You do not now exclusively say everything is worse. Identify what you can do with. For example, if it is only plain foods that you can do with, if it is fruits, then ensure that you are actually substituting that which will give you the health that is required for the growth of the baby. Because we did not ignore the fact that we needed the supplements that are given in pregnancy. We had to be on folic, we had to be on ferrous sulfate, we had to be actually active in going for checkups as it should. We had to follow the routine as we were being given instructions by the doctor in the hospital, so that we don't look like we're the ones who know what should be done.
Yes.
Yet you need advice even when you have an experience before. Yeah.
And thank you very much for sharing with us your experience. Now, through what you went through, you've been able to talk to that woman. Thank you very much. Are you there? Would you want to share your experience with us? Kindly write to us through that number on your screen. And until we meet again from us here in Golden Minute Show, it's shalom and God bless you. Bye.